So in this video I'll just briefly run through some of the other beds and crops that I have in the garden at this time of the year, which is the beginning of December. So if you can see here to the left, this is one of my polytunnels, and I've been cleaning the area next to it. I had a really bad scutch problem in this area just since I started gardening here, and over the last couple of years I've decided to tackle it. So I've managed to get all of the scutch out from the sides of the tunnel, and what I did then was I put down a layer of Mypex, and underneath the Mypex actually I had this thin layer of carpet. It's that carpet that they use in the marquees, so it doesn't have the plastic backing on it. So, and once it's covered with the Mypex, it just doesn't break down. I pulled some up that had been down for 10 years. So I have that underneath, underneath, just on top of the soil for all the world, and then I have a layer of Mypex, and then I have bark mulch here on top of it. So that's really clean right there. In the next section here, I've almost all of the scutch out of this area, and I'll turn this into a bed. So under the plastic then I just have some I think it's composted bark mulch that has been composted for a couple of years. So I just spread that under there last year during the summer, and I'll just let that continue to break down, and I'll make a bed out of that at some point. So in the next bed here, well, there's actually two beds here. You can kind of see there's a little bit of grass in between them. They were raised, but over time they fall down a little bit. So I had garlic in these beds in this past season, and once the garlic came out, then I had just rested them for a month probably, and towards the beginning, I think it was mid-September, I seeded Phacelia. So you can see there's the Phacelia has come up now. It doesn't have a huge amount of cover at this stage, but it's still growing a little bit, and it'll come on in the spring. So you can see it's kind of frondy like, but it does put on a good bit of growth in the springtime, and it'll add quite a bit of organic matter to the soil. And in addition, the roots of Phacelia can get kind of deep, so they're good for breaking up the soil. But I will work it into the bed then probably in March sometime, and I think this bed will have it might have root crops going into it after the Phacelia. So they're covered for the winter time, and next to that is the last of the beetroot. So I'm still pulling the beetroot out of that. I had a couple of different sowings during the year, both within the tunnel for an early one and then outdoors. And then the next bed here, you can see it's covered with a bionet, and that was the brassicas, one of the brassica beds. So I had early and mid-season broccoli in there, and I have kale. You can see where it's kind of raised up. That's still the kale that I'm harvesting, and I had some cabbage down below there, some Savoy cabbage in there that I'm harvesting. Next to that then you can see here I had just taken out, this is where I had the sweet corn, and I just cut them and put them in the compost heap and left the roots. Now I need to go back and cut some of the stalks again, but I'll see, maybe I'll try and leave the roots in the ground just to break down. And you can see it below the bed then I had some winter brassicas. So in this bed then it's purple sprouting broccoli, again hoping to harvest that from about March onwards next year. And next to that then I have, this was the legume beds last year, so I had peas and beans in here, and I put some alliums, I put the garlic in here, and you can see here this was just done in October, so the garlic has started to shoot. So it's now the 2nd of December, and you can see that the garlic is up. I've planted them through Mypex, and then I have put bark mulch in between, just trying to clean up the area and put a bit of shape on it. So that's two beds of garlic there, and next to it then I have main crop carrots, which I had bionet on. I was covering them, but the root fly is gone at this time of the year, so I just pulled off the netting there last week, and I've been harvesting carrots. Main crop I had Rhodolica, and can't remember, I think I had some Autumn King in there as well. And at the end of the bed then I have parsnips and celeriac, so all the same family of vegetables in that bed. And if I flick over again, I usually keep my root crops, my carrots, parsnips, and then my alliums in the same section of the garden. So you can see here, so this is kind of all my allium area. So I have the bed of carrots, and next to it then I have leeks. I had early leeks, and then these were main crop, but they went in a little late, so they're not the size that they should be at this time of the year. But I'm hoping next February or next January, February, they'll put on a little bit of growth in the new year, and I'll be able to harvest them then. And then finally here, this is another bed of garlic and also some overwintering onions. So this kind of completes my allium section of my rotation. And then we're back to where the green manure that I talked about in the last video, this was the Wild Atlantic mix in this section of the garden. So again, I just did a lot of mulching of the pathways and cleaning of the pathways here over the winter time. Still got a few more to do, but it is a nice time of the year. I suppose things slow down a little bit with regard to selling veg, so I have a bit more time to just catch up on jobs. And I suppose the pace in the garden, it's just nice. You can kind of take your time and you're not as under pressure as you would be during the main season. But again, great to get out in the weather when the days are fine, because they're short. There's not a lot of light at this time, so I try to get out as early as I can, and usually by 4:30 the light is waning, so it's kind of a short day, but nonetheless good to get as much vitamin D at this time of the year as we can. So yeah, so that's just a little bit on my garden in December.